Why? Why do so many people live with their head in the sand? In the sand, I'm telling you. I don't get it. I just don't get it. We see it in all walks of life. Not my kid. He's a bad person. Yeah, this team is still irrelevant. You can create success without effort. All those things we hear all the time from people. But I'm tired of hearing all that stuff. We're going to get into topics tonight about current sports where so many people are so clueless about the reality that sits in front of their face. Feel free to chime in and don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a sparkling review. Even if it's a lie, we'll like it.
National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, Week 1 and futures, college football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds, NBA odds of division winners and playoffs, Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds, the National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds, and boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
You're going to call anyone that loves you. You're going to ask them if you can use their card to buy concert tickets because your card's maxed out.
Okay.
If they say yes, you get the tickets.
I can't call my parents because they already think I make bad financial decisions. So I think I'll call one of my friends.
Okay.
I'm a little nervous. I feel tingly
What's your not
inside.
answer?
Giovanna?
Yes.
I was on SeatGeek earlier and I saw 2 tickets for Olivia Rodrigo at a really, really, really good price. So
Oh my god.
I maxed my credit card out by accident last week. Do you think I could use yours to buy the tickets?
Oh my god, yes.
Did I?
Yeah, you got the tickets. You got the tickets.
I just want tickets. We're going to go to the concert together. Giovanna, I'll call you later. Love you. Thanks for picking up. Oh my god. I'm going to see Olivia Rodrigo.
Yes, thank you, SeatGeek.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, it's time to experience the O's on the Original Sports Podcast.
Gentlemen, December 10th, 2024. I can't believe I'm still living 2024.
Yeah, me either. How the hell did you do that?
I don't know. It's all right, though. I'm having fun. It's been a hell of a ride. Right?
Yeah.
Watson, don't you think I'd have a heart attack now by coaching?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I've seen you do a couple things that I thought was going to give you a heart attack.
Listen, Hector.
Hey, I wasn't going to go there.
Oh, shit. And then I hang out with Rasheen, which makes it even worse. He likes to stoke me at least once a day. Throw some shit.
All I'm saying is Nick Saban didn't make anyone. He did it.
Well, no, obviously he has his own kids, so there's no way he could have made anybody.
He didn't make anybody.
All right.
So
thank God I got Chops on here. He's my leveling factor.
What's she even mean by that? He didn't make anybody.
Yeah. We was talking about Dion, and it was just a thing.
He said, "Who did Dion put in the pros?" I said, "Well, who did Nick Saban put in the pros? These kids don't show up like a piece of shit, and he just molds them to the what was that movie they made with the big left guard tackle guy like that? They don't show up like that. They're already studs. That's their mom and dad.
That was Hollywood. That dude knew how to play. He knew how to play.
Well, all I'm saying is the mom and dad created that. Nick Saban don't got nothing to do with that.
Oh shit! All right. Okay. All right. Hey, what's going on, Daniel? Thanks for joining us tonight. Always great to have you visit the show, give a little input pod. Hey, Waddy, are you joining us tomorrow night, Thursday night? What's the story here?
It's a wait and see.
What?
I
It's
like it. Wait and
Tuesday.
see.
Okay.
It's
Wait
what?
and see. Wait and see means he got till Thursday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All
I
right.
should have told you. Wait, I should have told you. In the black vernacular, wait and see means the day of.
There you go.
Sheen, you look like you're trying to reproduce Off the Wall album cover there, Michael Jackson. What's that background about?
That's a good one. I like that.
Damn.
That was his best album, by the way. Off the Wall was the best album.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was real
I don't
good.
know.
That might have saved the 80s, by the way.
What was the best one, Barber?
Oh, I don't know.
Thriller is trash.
No, that wasn't trash. It was just too pop.
He's still trying to beat it.
Beat it? Come on, man. That's corny as heck. Man. Come on, let's start the show, man. That's corny. Beat it.
Talks, are you there?
Come on.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Hey,
I'm
before
listening.
we get into some baseball and football talk, because we got to talk baseball.
He don't listen to music, do he?
They're still doing the Thriller dance. Why are we even arguing with them? They're still doing.
They're still singing. They're still singing Ghostbusters. That don't make it a great song.
What? It's a class. You can go anywhere. Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Who are you going to call? Go. However they say in China, Ghostbusters. Who are you gonna call? Wherever that they know, wherever country you go.
Listen.
If you start doing this, they already know what you're. They already know.
Hell
They
yeah.
already know what it is.
Hell yeah.
They already know.
I gotta get
got
the other specs on because these joints are too bright. Hey, what's going on, Glenn? Thanks for joining us tonight. Hey, fellas, before I get into this baseball stuff, like I said, the Lakers, man, can we talk about the Lakers for a minute? There's some shit.
It's more like no time.
I'm so done with this whole Bronny and LeBron thing. I mean, anybody else? Like, let me hear what you have to say about it, please.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, I mean, it's no different than what's going on with all these coaches, my friend. Bill Belichick said he'll be the coach at University of North Carolina if his son is the coach in waiting.
Yep.
So what's the difference?
I don't know.
Honestly, what bothers me is not LeBron trying to do this, not Belichick doing this. Why the universities aren't smart enough to say, we want you, Bill. If it takes having to guarantee your son that we'll take you, no. Or if we do it, I'm telling you, I'm not guaranteeing more than 1 year. You only made him a special teams coach or whatever. He didn't even give his son a major role on the team. I can't even remember what he did. He wasn't D coordinator, but I think he coached linebackers or something. So you did not give him a major role. Why would we say, okay, to take you at 72? Why do we want you just to have your son? No, and I'm interested to see
his girlfriend.
If he
Yeah,
can
his
even.
girlfriend's a junior there, isn't she?
It's like
At
Kelsey
UNC?
taunting Taylor Swift around.
built like a Domino's breadstick. That is oh my goodness.
Oh shit!
Oh my gosh!
Little breaking baseball news: Max Fried to the Yankees.
Yeah.
I love how you feel about Soto. So we're done. Hey,
215 million 5 years.
That's better than 765 for 15 years. Let's talk a little baseball money, fellas.
Depends on who you are.
Listen, I think LeBron just impacts that basketball team way too much for a player, and it just makes me sick. That's all I'm going to say. You know, his kid ain't any good.
The NBA players. I'll put it on the NBA players. They're all professionals. They don't need a coach, to be honest with you. They don't. I mean, they really don't. Every last one of those guys can go out there and play ball, and they don't need a coach. They don't.
Well, hold on. I got to give you a little pushback on that because they need a coach. Because if you took even the best team that played at the Rucker, just a run and gun game, it's not. You're going to need some sort of its assembly. Not telling them what to do and how to, pick and roll this, that, and whatever, but some sense of normalcy, some sense of like organization is what a coach would do to me. Because with those guys and those egos, imagine if you had 5 James Worthies or all these guys who wanted to be individuals. Half these guys are only doing what they're doing or not doing what they want to do because they know they'll get benched or the coach, whatever have you. If you didn't have a coach in the NBA, they'd all be running crazy.
Yeah, you need a game manager. Things that they're not seeing on the field, on the court. Yeah.
Watson, you don't buy into
coach.
You don't buy into Popovich?
What's that?
You don't buy into a guy like Popovich?
Not in the NBA. He'd be a great. I mean, I take that back. He obviously had the right group of guys because it takes a certain guys to buy into what he was doing. He couldn't have done that on certain teams. Like, for example, like the Lakers right now, he probably couldn't have done it. But with the group he had, absolutely. The Lakers have a bigger issue. Their roster is terrible. It's terrible.
Hold on, real quick, because
Davis is inconsistent, and then you put all the pressure on LeBron, who's 39. Father Time, as we said, is undefeated.
But there's a reason we've seen guys that were living, doing whatever, and still can make NFL teams because that is the ultimate team sport. But there is a reason we don't see a lot of these guys from the AN1 leagues, from the Rucker Parks, who are great street ball players that don't make it to the NBA. Because just because you have the athletic ability and you can do all that in hoops and out there running the street, you have to be able to play within some form of a team. And that, to me, a coach isn't teaching them anything at that level, but I think the coach needs them to be able to realize this is the type of offense we're going to run. This is the type of offense we're going to run, to me. But no, a coach, I agree with Watson on the aspect the coach doesn't teach them anything at that level. Nothing. I don't think. What did he teach them at that level?
Yeah,
I've been saying that.
Yeah, you can go to the USA Olympics. What did Kurt didn't teach those guys anything. Those guys decided, okay, we got to turn this thing on, and they played. I mean, that's the NBA. That was the classic NBA. Okay, let me turn it on. You know? That's all.
Well, I think at the end of the day, we can circle back and talk NBA down the road, and it's never going to change until this group of guys moves on. And I know
it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse.
You think?
Yes. Yeah. Now you're going to need a special talent. But Mark, think about it. No disrespect. We're not seeing better defense in the NBA. We're not seeing guys. Nobody prides themselves on playing 82 games. Hell, your boy before the season even started, fellas. I sent that in a text. Do you realize Ricky Pearsall, who was shot in the chest, has played more NFL games than Embiid has NBA games because he has a sore knee? Your boy Embiid said he's not playing. He wasn't ruled out by a doctor. He said before the season started, I'm not playing back-to-back games. It's only going to get worse. Think about how we were mad about player management or time management, whatever it was, 3, 4, 5 years ago when Kawhi Leonard was doing it, just starting out, sitting out a game here. It's even worse now. I don't think it's going to get better, man. I really don't. Tackling the NFL is getting.
Well, you got limited games to perform in football. Basketball 82 versus 16. I know the grind is tougher. I agree with that, but he's a rookie. Embiid, he got the money. He's like, I can sit out. Yeah, he wants the thing. Yeah, he wants the MVP. He wants all that, but he's not going to get it unless he plays.
Yeah, Terry, you're right. The 82 games compared to 16, but you do realize that in basketball, the game, it stops. You can't even do that in basketball. They are traveling in the most luxury ways to travel. They have the best medicine getting.
And on the floor, they're traveling.
Yeah, dog. I can't. I know they travel more, but even let's forget. In the 80s, when they were banging each other out, guys were still playing 82 games, basically riding in chicken coops. They didn't have the medical facilities. They didn't have the planes. To me, it's easier to travel. It's easier to play in the because you can't get physical in the NBA. You just can't. So the guys are getting bigger, faster, stronger, but they're not bodying. You can't even hand check in the NBA now.
Is that why LeBron's playing at 39?
Yes. Hell yes.
Yes.
Hell yes.
All right.
And here you go. Shop said something, and I'll stop right here. He just said something that made absolute sense to me. And I go back to this. you compare the, back then and now. Look at college basketball and where it's at versus then and where it's at now. And it'll tell you the story of the NBA.
Yeah, man.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
You're right. Fellas,
let's get on baseball. So Mark,
we got to get on this, man.
Hot as fish
This
grease.
man, this boy, Juan Soto, $765 million for 15 years. For 15 years. Juan Soto is making more in those 15 years than the Pirates spent on their entire payroll the last 10 years combined. $757 million. How insane is that?
Insane to who? Insane to Major League Baseball? Insane to the player? Insane to the owners? Who? Insane to who?
Just the overall number. I don't begrudge the player to forget it. I don't begrudge the player forgetting it.
I think
if you can get it,
no, if they're going to give it to you, right? But where does it stop? Where does it stop?
It doesn't. It's just going to keep getting worse.
What's going to happen when a guy like Paul Skeens is ready to make money? What's he going to get? $1 billion? Let's say Skeens. Let's just say Skeens is the best pitcher in the game 3 years from now. Okay,
which is quite possible.
What's he going to demand? Yeah, very possible. What's he going to demand, fellas? Here's what I did. I did a little digging. I wanted to find out just exactly who the top 10 teams were in terms of money. At the top of the totem pole is Watson's Yankees, $7.5 billion. The Dodgers, number 2, $5.5 billion. The Red Sox, $4.5 billion. The Cubs, who haven't been doing crap for a few years now, $4.23 billion. The Giants, $3.8. The Mets, $3 billion. The Phillies, I was a little shocked about this one, $2.93 billion. The Braves, $2.8 billion. The Angels, who can't even make the playoffs, and they spend a shit ton of money, $2.7 billion. And the Cardinals, $2.55 million. That's a lot of money, fellas, to be toting around, owning a baseball team. And you're right, the players do deserve the money. But here's what's happening with baseball, and I don't know if you guys quite understand this. Soto's getting $765 million over 15 years, is what the contract says. His money is deferred out for years and years and years, so it doesn't hit the bottom line. And when they go to pay their luxury tax, it's not as bad as it would be if they were paying him $60 million a year.
So it's like Bobby Buck.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. They're manipulating, they're circumventing the cap. Them, the Dodgers. I found a number on the Dodgers. The Dodgers are paying $1.5585 billion to 5 players. Shohei Ohtani, $698 million. Mookie Betts, $297 million. The pitcher from Japan, Yoshinobu, $270 million. They're paying who is that?
Kershaw.
No, Blake Snell, $182 million. And then Tyler Gassnow, Pittsburgh Pirate back in the day, $115.5 million. All that adds up to almost $1.6 billion. They can't pay that in one season. That's all deferred money. And that's what's ruining baseball. Kevin, that's, my point was they're ruining baseball because they're deferring all this money because down the road, these are the big money clubs and they're going to still be paying these guys. Shit. Juan Soto's great-great-grandchildren are cashing in on what he's going to make. You know what I mean?
Those first numbers you shared, the $7.5 billion by the Yankees, is that a year?
That's their value. That's their 7.5.
That's not what they're spending on their players. That's their value.
No, they're spending about $300 million on their players.
But here's the thing: if baseball is not going to change the rules, if they didn't change it, because we used to say it for years, July 1st, Barry Bonds getting his million. Barry Bonds getting his million, even though he's not playing.
Bobby Bonilla.
I'm sorry, Bobby
Bobby
Bonilla.
Bonilla.
If they are not changing it, baseball, if they're not changing the rules, the owners are going to keep getting around it. They're going to keep doing it. So it ultimately comes back to the baseball not changing rules. But Mark, as you say, that's what's hurting baseball. I didn't look at Nielsen ratings, so I don't know. But fellas, like our Pirates are trash, but the owner's still making money. So if he's still making money, he's still able to afford his yacht. He's not going to change things. If the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Mets, whatever, they may be ruining baseball for fans like us. But if those owners can afford their yachts, their multiple homes on multiple coasts of different countries, they're not going to stop doing what they're doing. Fans need to stop going to games, stop watching games, protest somehow, but they don't. So if owners aren't going to stop, they're not going to change it.
So, Mikey,
they can make it better. They can make it better to where everybody affords it, but they just haven't. It's like almost like they refuse to even try to come up with ideas to make baseball better.
Okay, so think about
to me, the only way to make it better is to make it even, and that's why football rules, because there's a cap, and it makes everything kind of even.
Football and hockey. Football and hockey, because they both have hard caps.
Yeah, fellas. But here's the thing. Think about what you just said, Watt. We're asking Americans to make things even across the board and basically go in their own pockets and say, I'll take less or I'll make. You know what I'm saying? That's just not the American way. That's not the American way.
That's right.
I'd love to see parity. I'd love to see parity across the board. Oh, man, I'd love it. But, man, if you figure.
If they're not going to do that, then what's the answer? Because baseball
are the owners looking for one? Are the owners looking for an answer? Are the owners looking?
No, because those guys
aren't complaining.
All those teams that I told you were making $7 billion or worth $7 billion are the ones calling the shots. They're sitting at the head of the table at the owners' meetings. That's who it is, and they don't mind paying a luxury tax because they have huge TV contracts. You know, at the end of the day, listen, between 2015 and 2024, the value of the Pittsburgh Pirates went up. You ready for this? $420 million. That's all. That's all. That is a pittance, fellas.
Yes,
that is
absolutely.
A pittance. And if you were the owner, you ought to be ashamed of yourself for your team to only go up that amount of money when everybody else is cashing in.
He's cashing in. He don't care if his teams win. He still drives a big. Think about this real quick. You had said that Waddy, it's his Yankees, right? So if you're a Yankees fan, if you're a Dodgers fan, if you're a Mets fan, they don't care. The Yankees were called the evil empire for years. The fans don't care if we, the ones who don't like the Yankees or whatever, if we say you guys just bought the championship. They don't care if we say that because the ring still fits the straight. The banner still hangs in the rafters. You know what I mean? So the fans aren't going to complain that their teams are trash. We Pirates will complain because our teams are trash, but Watson and the Phillies, the Dodgers, those teams, those fans, they're never going to complain. Even if they could honestly admit we bought the championship, still feels the same to say world champions. You know what I'm saying?
And you say bought, but they're doing what's under the rules that those owners set, which is which is not right. And for some reason, they won't set parameters for the whole league. To me, it's mind-boggling.
Hold on, let me ask Mark this, or the Barber this, and anybody else can answer, but I really want to hear Mark's answer this. What would happen if the small market teams who can't compete with the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Mets, if they banded together and started complaining about the rules and the practices? Do you think anything could be done if all the small market teams banded to show how this is not fair?
With the small market teams, here's the problem. When they pay that luxury tax in Major League Baseball, they don't give a shit how much more the Yankees pay over. They don't care how much the Dodgers pay over because all that luxury tax money gets divvied up between those teams, and it goes right into the pocket of those guys. And those greedy owners like Bob Nutting, He doesn't care. He's never going to fight that. Hey, listen, here's a story for you. A few years back, Major League Baseball purchased At Bat, which was their radio version of listening to the game, and you could purchase the TV package. They bought it. Major League Baseball bought it, okay? And they gave every owner $50 million based on what they bought it for. And the Pirates were having their Pirate Fest. It was early December. They used to have it in early December. And one of the announcers was, interviewing Bob Nutting. And one of the questions he asked him, he said, have you considered what you're going to do with that $50 million that you got from Major League Baseball from the sale of At Bat? And Bob Nutting said, nah, I didn't think anything about it right now. I don't care. Any smart owner would have been like, I'm investing that back into the team to make it competitive. This guy's thinking one thing and one thing only. It's going into my pocket.
Mark, but here's the thing. You're realizing he's not hiding what he's doing. He doesn't care about the fans, yet the Pirate fans still show up every game. He's letting you know, I'm not putting a competitive team on the field. I have $50 million. I'm not putting in a team, not putting in facilities. I'm keeping it in my pocket. Yet the fans show up. Like you said, the small market teams, they get to divvy up that luxury tax. If they don't care, if the small market teams who are truly at a disadvantage, if they don't care, if they're not making us think about it, we just have to accept the fate. This is what baseball has become. We can no longer get mad. Because if the people that are involved in it aren't fighting against it, they're not raging against the machine, what are we going to do? What
I personally think should happen then is I think you should split into two tiers. Honestly, you should have an upper tier of baseball and a lower tier of baseball, kind of like they have in soccer. And but
if they're not watching now, who's going to watch lower tier?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You got a problem with people watching the game.
No, wait a minute. They watch the lower tier. They watch the teams. They watch their teams. People watch the Baltimore Orioles. People watch the Washington Nationals.
Mm-hmm. They may not be across the nation, but those teams in that area and surrounding areas will watch.
Right. Mm-hmm. And if you win your tier, then you get the opportunity to go out and play with the upper tier. If you come in last place in the upper tier, then you drop down to the lower level to earn your way back.
About pool play. That's what they do in soccer, pool play.
Yeah, exactly. I guess, whatever they call it, Kevin.
So how many games into it, Mark, do you want to do this?
You got to do it for a season. This has to be a season-long thing.
So the postseason where the play, does that start to pool versus pool, or are you doing postseason lower tier plays lower tier, upper tier plays upper tier? How are you?
Lower tier plays lower tier, upper tier plays upper tier. You're still, I just don't know how you're going to ever make it so that it's even when you see the Yankees play the Pirates, when you see the Dodgers play, the Miami Marlins. These teams are not going to ever be even with the talent they put on the field, no matter how much you develop it. Because once those guys, I'm telling you, 3-4 years from now, Paul Skeens is not going to be a Pirate. If Juan Soto's making $765 million and Paul Skeens is playing off the charts, he's not going to be like, oh, okay, let me stay in Pittsburgh for $30 million a year. He's not going to, and I can't blame him. Can't blame him.
He's saying to his woman right now, I can't get you that fur coat for Christmas. When I get over there, fur coats.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
She got her own fur coat. She got that NIL deal. She's good.
To add to this, though, fellas, they want to put this stupid rule in place called the Golden Bat. Terry Young, can you speak to the Golden Bat? Because I know you kind of paid attention to it.
So basically, at any point in time during the game, it's NBO, new batting order, bottom of ninth, or bottom of sixth. You got bases loaded. You just need a homer. You need a run. You're not gonna call on the number 9th batter. They're the 9th slot for a reason, right? Maybe they're a good defender, but their batting average is in the tank. So you're going to call up guys like Shohei, Juan Soto,
McCutcheon.
Those guys, McCutcheon for the Pirates, exactly. And you can put them in for that person who's already in the game, and they can bat. You can only do that one time with one player during the game. And robbing Peter to pay Paul? No, you're just paying Paul. Peter already.
It's already uneven based on the players you got on your team. So yeah, McCutcheon for the Pirates because he hit 20 home runs last year. He was your big home run hitter. Who's the Dodgers going to put in there? Ohtani. He hit 60 home runs or whatever the hell he hit. You know, it's never going to be equal from that perspective. So the golden rule doesn't help anybody.
It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick.
But here, Waddy, you're absolutely right. But here's the thing, fellas. Again, purist of the sports who like us and who love whether it's NBA, whether it's NFL, whether it's NHL, whether it's MLB, we are no longer the target audience they're trying to hit. They're no longer the target audience. Did you see the female from the Dr. Pepper game over the weekend? She is going viral because they think how pretty she was. The game, the fans, everything is changing. The Chiefs' ratings are going up because of Taylor Swift. Listen, they're doing the golden bat rule and all this, whatever have you, because they don't care about guys like us anymore. They're changing the rules for offense. Games are like Nintendo now in the NFL and Sega. Fellas, they're only doing things for the casual fan to just get clicks, to get eyes on it. They are turning their backs on purists and fans like us. They don't care about it.
I wouldn't say they're turning backs. I would say they're trying to get, let's say, for example, they're trying to get me to watch it. That's what they're trying to do. So they got to probably create all this other stuff because the NBA does it, the NFL does it. They all do it now, except for the Major League Baseball. Guess what? They don't do that. Everything is pretty much boop, 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 more generated towards the older generation. They need
in Major League Baseball
generation. Yes.
No, Waddy, hold on. They changed the pitching clock because now this generation wants everything now. They want the pitching clock so the games go shorter.
But you still haven't got me yet.
Hold on. So they changed they changed the clock so it's for the younger fan. They now have hold on a minute. The All-Star game. The All-Star game now they're making it so it is a little more competitive. But okay. Screw the All-Star game. Okay. Hold on. Pitchers now. There used to be some prestige in throwing a no-hitter, going the entire way. What happened? Now everything is analytics. Old timers like us to give a shit less about analytics. These numbers are for the new guys who can't play sports, who put it in the numbers. So I could never play, but I can crunch numbers. So that's why, to me, all these pro leagues are now going to what the new fan wants. Hell, we've become softer as a nation. That's why we see less hitting in the NFL. Hell, everybody's you've
yet to mention anything about Twitter. You have to mention anything about Instagram. You have to mention anything about the TikTok.
That's all, and that's still all for the younger fans. That ain't for the older cats like us. That's all for the younger fans trying to get more younger.
They better jump on the ship because that's what attracts the younger people.
That's what I'm saying. Sports are going to the younger crowd. They're pushing us old fuckers out.
Baseball hasn't done that yet.
What's that?
Well,
Baseball hasn't done it.
Yeah, and you know why, Waddy? Let me tell you the percentages by racial breakdown, and this has an impact whether you want to buy into it or not. Latino, Hispanic, 30%. Asian, almost 4%. Pacific Islander, less than 1%. Native American, less than 1%. This is an astounding number right here, fellas. Only 6% of Major League Baseball players are black.
I believe that.
Falling off a lot, which is
I think that's horrible.
I believe that.
Well, here's also why.
I believe it.
You guys may be able to speak better to it than I can because you were coaches. I think a lot of this travel baseball has really affected it, especially in inner cities where a lot of the black kids came from. They couldn't afford it. Now, I don't know how. Yes, exactly, Waddy. No, I don't know how travel football works, and if they can find boosters or whatever. So some of
there's no such thing.
Okay, then that's it. I think travel
That's
baseball
why.
is really hurt in the city and the young black kids because they just can't afford it. That's one of the reasons, just being honest with you, hockey was never played in the black community. It was an expensive sport. It really was.
Yes, lacrosse.
It still is.
Yeah. And so I'm getting you, Barber, on that aspect on the breakdown. Fellas, we see significantly less black players now. And I'd like to know, in these other countries where you say the Latina players, the Japanese players, do they have travel leagues for their young kids? And if so, how much are they putting into it? Are they making the parents over there spend like you parents spend here for your kids to play travel?
I doubt it.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I know.
Latino Travel League is going down to the wheat field, hitting rocks with a stick, with a broomstick.
Yes, because they play. Yes, I feel you. Yes,
I went to a baseball clinic one time, and was it who's the Orioles manager a couple years ago? Whoever that was, he was giving a talk, and he said he was an ambassador to Central America, and when he was going to watch players and recruit and do all that, he would talk to them and say, "How'd you learn how to swing?" He said, "I was watching TV. That's what I do. I just pick up the ball and throw it to myself." There's none of that, there may be in certain areas, but it's not like it is here.
Okay, so here it is. Yes, there is travel baseball in foreign countries, including through Major League Baseball and other organizations. So Major League Baseball is promoting travel baseball in London, Mexico City, Seoul, Santo Domingo. Japan has their own, so does Dominican Republic. And there's an organization called Baseball Overseas, Baseball Jobs Overseas. 36 countries are involved in that. So, yeah, it's out there, but
you didn't mention the U.S. You mentioned every other country. You mentioned every other country but the U.S.
That's because we know it's all over the U.S.
But I'd like to know, what are they charging over there in those other? I'd like to know what they're charging.
My guess is a lot of it's sponsored baseball. Like you're playing there and you've got sponsors. In the United States, here you go. Vincent at 13U, 14U. He played baseball 2 years ago. Travel team. Not even a good fucking travel team. We paid $2,000 for him to play.
Yeah.
$2,000. And we never left Frederick County except once. We went to Hershey. Every tournament was in Frederick County, Maryland. We paid $2,000.
How expensive is that?
Are you paying for like a charter bus for the kids to ride on to get to the games? Or are you paying for
no? We're putting them in our car. We're staying overnight.
What are you paying for? What is that? What are you paying for?
The cost of the tournaments.
That's what they said.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, fellas, we could sit here and beat up baseball all night. We know we'll get back to it. We'll circle back. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. Let's talk college football. The playoffs are set. Okay. You've got what? You've got Tennessee and Penn State, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You've got
Penn State plays SMU.
I'm sorry. Tennessee and Ohio State. Yeah. Texas and SMU.
No,
Penn State's got SMU. Texas got who?
Clemson.
I can't even read my
Clemson.
And then Notre Dame and
Indiana.
Yeah. So Georgia, Boise State, Arizona State, and Oregon all have a bye. Get into your thoughts about it, because this is going to take us to the end of the show. I know that shit's happening.
Look, I'll start it off. Look, it will never be to the point where everybody's happy. That's not going to happen. It's just not. Somebody is always going to get left out.
Yeah, let me interject on that real fast. Yeah, everyone can't be happy, but if regular people step back and say this team is better than this team, like if Pitt would have went undefeated, say Pitt went undefeated in the ACC and then won the ACC championship, like I would still be like, man, we ain't better than Alabama.
No, they're not. But they did what they had to do within their conference. The bad part is I don't know if there's a system that will ever put 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not going to happen because they're still doing these conferences. Until you get rid of the conferences, this is what you're going to get, to be honest with you, the way things are set up. The conferences are going to limit how many you can get in, who they have to play, and so forth. Yes, the SEC is stronger, but no, you're not going to make it if you have a three team, a team that's lost 3-4 games. You're not going to make it. Sorry, it's not going to happen.
But what bothers me is we've now become an entire society of participation league, and I know that's a bit harsh word, but what I'm saying that to say this: like Sheen said, Bama is a better team than SMU. Bama had 3 losses, but they all.
How do you know that?
Hold on,
How do you know that?
Hold on, because Bama also had played a tougher schedule. Bama has beaten more ranked teams.
That doesn't mean anything.
It should.
Hold on, big dog. There's a reason. There's a reason. Hold on. There's a reason why, even though year after year, go check stats, Texas Tech quarterbacks for years were leading the NCAA in passing, but none of them were ever getting invited to the Heisman Trophy ceremony because who you were playing and what number, it's just different.
Playoffs.
Dude, everything I say, you got an answer for. It was like, well, we don't know that Alabama's better. I get that we don't know Alabama's better, but just more money. Alabama's better than SMU.
What team are you saying Alabama's not better than?
He said SMU. I don't know that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
They didn't play each other.
They're better than Penn State. They're better than Notre Dame. They're better than Boise.
How do you know that?
Because they get all the better players. That's why.
Yeah.
How do you know
having all the better players doesn't mean you're a better team.
Okay.
Surely.
And I understand. I'm not saying Watson and Mark and Barber are doing this for clicks, but fellas, if it worked out hypothetically, and I don't even know the bracket set up, if it worked out that Boise State and SMU played in the championship, right now Bama against Texas would be a bigger watch championship than SMU and Boise State. We can say we can say that we root for this little guy, but no, we don't. No, we don't. And the reason we say that is because Division II and NAIA football games don't make the money that Division I makes. These BS wildcard games don't make the ratings that the Super Bowl makes. We can say we care and want the little guy. That is not how America works. We do not care about David. No, we don't.
Here's your solution. Go to 16 teams.
Okay. And with 16 teams, I got your solution for all that too. Okay. You got a Power 4. You got Power 4 conference, right? You take your top 3 teams from the Power 4 conferences. That makes up your top 12. Am I correct?
ACC is not a power conference. But I think that's who'd you put in as your power in whatever.
ACC is a Power 4 conference. SEC, ACC, Big 12, and Big 10.
Conferences.
That's
the
your
conferences means nothing anymore. They don't mean anything.
Are you saying get rid of the conference or the conference championship?
I'm saying get rid of the freaking conferences. Divide everything up by region. Divide it up by region.
Okay, so even if you do that,
do that because there's money involved in that.
Even if you do that, Kevin, even if you do that, you take the top 3 teams in each region. That's 12 teams, and then you do 4 teams that are at-large teams based on strength of schedule and record. So that will save you from having those teams that are playing absolutely nobody but are 11-1, 10-2. Okay,
so 16 teams. It'll solve it. It really will. And then use the bowl games as your playoff spots. Because that way nobody loses out.
You can still call it the Fiesta Bowl, still call it the Citrus Bowl.
Yes. Yeah.
These are teams that got snubbed. These are teams that got snubbed that people are pissed about. You just say yes, you'll let them in, or no, they shouldn't be in. Alabama.
Yes.
No.
Hold on. I'm listening to what Alan says. Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. Are you not going to put Mike Tyson in your top 10, top 15 of all-time heavyweights? Just because you have one bad week doesn't isolate you. You know,
this is one season, though. We're talking about one season.
We're not talking about one bad fight. We're talking about one bad season.
But what I'm saying is that you're right. They did have a bad game against a 7-5 Oklahoma team. I get that. But right now on a neutral field, real talk, what is the spread Bama versus Boise? What's the spread Bama versus SMU? Do you think Bama would be favored in both of those, or do you think SMU or Boise? See, that's what I want, the best teams. I don't want the best record and best participation.
16 teams solves that issue.
Does it?
I'm telling you.
You know what?
Because
I just gave you the layout.
After 16, you don't need the rest. You can
No,
take the
you
16.
don't. You're absolutely right. But even when we do the NCAA, the big dance, they have 64 teams, and somebody's complaining they got left out. Nobody's ever going to be happy.
That's why you got the NIT.
Yeah. But I do think you should go away with automatic conference champions automatically get a first round bye. Because and also
if you keep the conferences, then you have to do that almost. Because then
also
the conference becomes they what's the purpose of the conference if you don't get an automatic bye? What's the purpose then?
And here's what I don't get by the guys. How did they not get this right and not reseed? Do you realize Penn State has an easier trek to the Final Four national championship game than Oregon?
Yes.
You should reseed after the first round. They should be reseeding after the first round, like they do in all other playoffs. I don't get how they figured we're going to do that. It's almost like Oregon does what they do, go undefeated, and now you give them the hardest gauntlet to go through. Texas.
Who does Penn State play?
Penn State SMU and Boise State.
So how is Boise State, who's ranked 9th? How's Boise State, who's ranked 9th, have a bye?
Because they won their conference.
They won their conference.
That's what we're saying, Sizzle.
That conference is trash. Who else is in that conference?
Exactly. Who is in that conference? Hey, go back to what Sizzle was saying. Sizzle was talking about Alabama being left out. Who else, Sizzle?
Miami was left out.
Yeah. And Miami got done. Me too, because I wasn't as high on Miami as
they're in the ACC.
But I didn't see him. I didn't see him play a lot. I didn't see him play.
They got left out because basically they didn't play in that conference championship game. That last game that they lost, that killed them.
Yeah,
that was killer.
Miami could have lost 3 or 4 games this year.
They could have, but
they could have.
See, if South Carolina is playing Boise State, South Carolina got left out. South Carolina and Boise State, South Carolina and SMU line
up. How about Ole Miss?
Boise,
no.
Boise is level with
teams. I keep telling you guys. You keep naming teams that should be in, and right now we're up to 13. 3 more. Hey, we got a 16-team field. Let them go. Let's play it. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, you know me. I'm always down for that. Now, here's the question, and I'm still waiting to see, fellas. Has anyone said they're sitting out of these playoffs yet? Any
Not
player
yet.
that is okay?
No,
we'll see, 'cause that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
No. If you sit out of this, then you really got a care issue. This is about championship now. This is championship time. Let's go. No.
Out of all these games, first round, okay?
All of them. All of them.
Texas and Ohio State. No, wait. Ohio State's playing who?
Tennessee.
Tennessee and Ohio State.
Tennessee
Clemson
win.
and Texas. Penn State, SMU, and Notre Dame and Indiana. Who's going to be the upset out of those 4?
Tennessee beat Ohio State. That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay.
Oh, man.
I like
Indiana over Notre Dame.
That ain't an upset, Sizzle.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. Notre Dame's not
10
good.
over 7.
Notre Dame has the same Penn State schedule, brother. They're not good.
Yeah, they do.
It's an upset. It's 10 over 7. It's an upset.
Yeah, Indiana, and because I don't think Indiana was tested, to be honest with you. But I'd have to. Man, let's put it this way: if Day loses, I don't think he rides back on the team charter. I think he's fired, and they tell him find his own Uber.
I think he's already fired, but that's a whole nother issue. You got kids at Ohio State that have already entered the portal.
Yeah.
Well, you saw Hold on, Big O. But you saw what old boy's doing. Dillingham. You saw what he's doing at Arizona State. He told his players, even if you've entered the portal, You can enter the portal now and still practice with us and everything and play in the bowl game if you want. He's changing up the game. Dillingham from Arizona State told his players, and he's in the playoffs. Arizona State's in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
He told his players, you don't have to wait until the end of the season. You can enter the portal now. You still have to do what you're supposed to do, come to practices, come to meetings, and do all that stuff, and you can play.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of guys are doing – a lot of guys are entering the portal. So
but
why is he saying you can do this if you want?
Put that out there like that, though.
So
What's that?
Indiana over Notre Dame, Tennessee over Ohio State.
Jeez.
Nobody thinks Clemson can beat Texas?
Oh, dog.
No.
That's in
No.
Texas? And
It's in
Texas is going to be good and pissed
No.
after what happened. I'm going Texas by double digits.
Ooh,
Double digits.
interesting.
Yeah.
How about
Clemson
SMU
got-
can't outrun Penn State? Penn State don't have any speed. SMU
They
can't
can.
outrun them?
They can.
That's my second upset right there.
I'm saying SMU, Penn State. I really think they'll outrun them.
Big dog, fellas, if this was basketball where a small team could beat a big team, just we've seen some of the number ones knocked off because you're just not hitting shots, okay. But I think Penn State just has better athletes. You're right, they don't have the speed, but they've got more size up front and just better athletes, and I think that's what's going to win out in the end.
Did you see how fast Did you see how quick SMU can score, though?
I know,
Like,
Big Dog.
they can score at a flash. That
score.
kid's not bad at quarterback.
Big Dog, you're absolutely right. But they're playing a different brand of ball in the Big Ten. They're going to go get, even though you hate Franklin and Franklin has not lived up to what he's supposed to in the Big Ten, I think his horses up front, his big dogs, and that defense is going to show SMU something they've never seen, and they're going to lay the wood on them cats. They're fast. You're absolutely right. But just like your boy Turbin from Dallas, he's fast as a hiccup. But as soon as he gets popped, he'll get that ball up. He gets hit decent, he's giving up. And I think SMU, as much speed as they have, I think Penn State's just going to be too much for them. And I'm hoping, man, because I really want Franklin to do well. Damn.
At the end of the day, we see Penn State playing Georgia, right?
Getting ran out the box.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's what we see. Penn State playing Georgia. Who do we see Oregon playing?
Texas.
Rematch, Ohio State.
Texas. Oh, you
is it Texas?
No, because that's their.
No. Yeah, so it would be Ohio State side. Okay.
I got Ohio State
Tennessee. If you got Tennessee on the upset,
Tennessee winning. I got Tennessee winning.
Over Ohio
State might be a little bit.
Oregon?
Is that in Columbus or is that in Tennessee? That's in Columbus. That's
Yes,
in
it
Horseshoe,
is.
isn't it?
Yes,
It's
it
in
is.
Columbus. But Michigan just went in there at 7-5-1.
That rivalries are different. You got to figure rivalries are always different. And I'm interested to see. It's been chilly down here, but I'm interested to see if what that cold weather, what that environment, what that atmosphere does in Ohio to them cats in Tennessee. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
We'll come
fellas,
back to it.
I don't have it real quick. Let's state this real quick. I don't have an issue. I have a small issue, but nothing I want to. It's not a hill I want to die on, as my wife says. It's not a hill I want to die on. That Bama didn't make it, that Boise's in, that SMU's in. It's not a hill I want to die on. You know what I mean? I think with strength of schedule, Bama got done dirty, but I'm still fitting to watch all these games. I wouldn't normally watch a Boise State or an SMU game, but now that they're playing Penn State and the big boy, I want to see how this goes. And also, this will be great for us because
so you're gonna watch it, right?
Oh,
You're
I'm definitely
excited to
watching
watch that, right?
Hold
Absolutely.
on, because it's Penn State. But if it was Boise State and SMU, I wouldn't watch it. Big fellas, I have not watched SMU play when they play Pitt because I like Pitt. I have not watched SMU at all. I have not watched SMU play
I
at
saw
all.
him play Clemson too.
I didn't even watch any of that because
They started Clemson 21 points and came roaring back. They score fast.
Yes,
They're
but let's not
fast.
forget. Clemson did well because they're in the ACC because he as in your boy is the only top school that is refusing to take transfer guys from the portal.
That's going to change after this year.
Well, not if he stays in the ACC,
Mm.
but we'll see. But I'm
Hey,
also just good.
Two more quick topics because we're about 4 minutes away from wrapping this up. Dave Parker and Dick Allen got in the Hall of Fame. Okay, why so long for those two men?
Why 31? Parker retired 31 years ago. Fellas, the Hall of Fame is not what it used to be. I even said in our text. To me, if you're a Hall of Famer, you changed the game. You were head and shoulders above the rest. There's a lot of guys that could be honorable mention. Maybe your name is on a plaque. You couldn't get into the cool kid club, whatever you want to say, but not everybody's a Hall of Famer. And if it takes 31 years to get in, you're not a Hall of Famer. I love Davy Parker. He was a Pirate. I loved him. He's not a Hall of Famer. If it takes you 31 years to get in.
Dave Parker didn't get in the Hall of Fame for 31 years because he was part of that cocaine thing with Del Barra. And he had he had that cloud over his head. Now those old goats that were voting are dying off, and they're recognizing that Parker's the second best right fielder to ever play baseball in Pittsburgh. Parker's right there. When you start naming names, this is when Pittsburgh had a baseball team. When you start naming names, you got Clemente, you've got Willie Stargell, and you've got Dave Parker as three of the best that have ever played there. Parker should have been in a hell of a long time ago.
Not just there, in the MLB, I'd say.
Okay.
Phils, I think we're homers. Roberto Clemente, yes, whatever. But like you said, and your first comment, Mark, was he was a Pittsburgher, and you named him one Pittsburghers. I don't know, man. I loved him, but I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. But he's in.
So not to like Dave Parker, because you mentioned him. What about Bonds then?
Bonds is a Hall of Famer. It's not even questionable. But see, as long as these old coots are in there, and they don't want to let guys like Bonds or McGuire or Sosa in there, it's never going to happen.
Clemens.
There's no reason Pete Rose should have never been in the Hall of Fame. Listen, if we're going to let fucking Lawrence Taylor in the NFL Hall of Fame when he's having sex with 16-year-old hookers and snorting cocaine and getting caught, we sure as hell should let guys like steroid heads in. You know, like it's so wishy-washy. We're back
when
to
it was
baseball.
so rampant that everyone was doing it practically at one point. Let's say like 85% of the league had tested positive. It is. It's BS that guys are being left out.
Last thing, fellas, and this is a big one, okay? Does Mike Tomlin win NFL Coach of the Year? Because he's never got it. And if it's not Mike Tomlin, who is it?
I know who my vote is. Campbell. Okay. Do you see with that defense? They lost Hutchinson. If Tomlin,
they have 13 guys on the IR.
There you go, Barber. If Tomlin loses Watt, is that defense still the same? We've already talked about it, how Watt shapes that defense. That Detroit defense lost Hutchinson. That Detroit defense has 13 guys on IR, and they're still balling. Campbell gets to me.
I just want you to keep this in the back of your mind, though. The Steelers were picked to come in last in the AFC North.
I feel you.
Yes.
They were. But hold on for a second. Also on the same token, Tomlin, you get a say in who you draft, who you bring in. You keep bringing in guys that weren't Pro Bowlers. You keep bringing in guys that nobody thought could play. That's on you. You cooked it. You bought the ingredients. You shot for the ingredients. The meal is going to taste how it tastes because you brought those guys in. So, I mean, that's how I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? It just, I don't know. Think about it. They're talking about real quick that Herbig, the center, whatever he was, the guard, the Herbig was sat out. He was lost early. Herbig's never made a Pro Bowl. So we expected a guy who was so-so or average everywhere else to come here and be the savior. Then
he was not going to be a starter. He was brought in to be a backup guard center.
That's okay, and then also, what was the guy, Fanatu, how you pronounce his name? They're talking about the O-line was hurting because we lost him. He was a rookie, and he might have done well, but what I'm saying is you're placing your hopes on a guy that you don't even know, and Tomlin, you brought those guys in. So that, to me, is where we always give Tomlin props. He's never had a losing season with not a whole lot of great players. But you brought those players in, so you got to take the good with the bad, bro. That's how
you said he brought those players in. He did have a GM, by the way. And I think the GM had more say than what we think because things that they're doing now versus what they were doing with him are totally different.
Okay, so then that leads me to then Tomlin has no pull because if he had nothing to say with the guys Colbert brought in, then he has nothing to say with the guys that Kahn brought in because we realized what they did in offseason this year with free agency has never been done before. Never, ever in Pittsburgh.
GM has the final say. I don't think the head coach has the final say. That's in any organization unless you're Belichick.
Unless you're the general manager.
But think, 17 years Tomlin had been there. One splash player did he bring in, and that was Minka. So either he he, as in Tomlin, has say or he doesn't have say.
At the end of the day, this team is built by Andy Wordle and the offensive and defensive line he's put together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could debate me all you want on that, but it's all coming together. That Steelers offensive line right now, they're like the oldest guy's like 26 years old, and he's not even going to be here next year. So keep that in the back of your mind.
It's
all right,
going to be scary. It's going to be very scary.
Yeah. So hey, Sheen,
Frazier and McCormick. Whew.
Sheen, who would be your coach of the year?
Jitney face, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah. Sis?
Right now the odds are in Campbell's favor. Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings has been doing a really good job there. And then Tomlin's third on the list at like plus 500. At the beginning of the season, like you said, they were expected to be last in the division, the Steelers, that is. They said this is going to be Tomlin's first losing season that he's ever had. Nobody said anything positive about it. Will he get it? No, because he hasn't gotten the respect and the dues that he's deserved. I think Kevin O'Connell will get it.
And that sort of thing, because your boy Darnold still has great receivers, a nice running game, decent defense, and Darnold was taken number 2 overall, so we always had talent. So that's why. But I mean, fellas, let's take Tomlin out of it. The Browns have fallen apart. The Bengals are falling apart. So basically, the Ravens still have a chance to win this AFC. Tomlin is basically so high in the AFC right now, North, because the other teams on their own are just falling apart.
Yeah, the other guys in the mention, but I think they're further down the list is Sean Payton with the Broncos and what he's doing with their rookie quarterback, and then Dan Quinn with the Commanders, what he's doing with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, fellas, I hate to wrap up a great discussion. Hopefully, everybody can tune in on Thursday night. Some of us are getting together to do our Christmas show. We'll probably promote it live, and then I'll drop it next week. But it's been a good run for us. We're going to have a few weeks off after this and enjoy the holiday season. When we come back together, we may do a surprise show with all the stuff going on with the bowl games and everything and the playoffs. Make sure you tune into us every Tuesday night. I got a great group of guys here, and I want to thank you so much for doing such an awesome job. I think our input and people who watch us every week really enjoy what we bring to the table. You can find anybody on this group on social media. It's all in our show notes. You can find the Original Sports Podcast at our webpage on Pod Page, Original Sports Podcast with Mark Maradei. You can find us on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube at Original Sports Podcast. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube, and you can find us on Twitch, all of that as well, and Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat or OSP with M&M. Listen, it's been a good run this year for us. We've had some great sports stuff to talk about. I'm very excited to see what next year brings for us. And, thanks for doing such a good job, fellas. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to tune into that special show we're going to do for the holiday and experience the O with us, because we're going to be experiencing the O ourselves.
Waddy Claus is coming out.
Take care, everybody.